Welcome. We'll continue our talk if you have come in for the first time this morning. We are talking about the multidimensional God and time. And this is where I have this model. I had a wonderful time over in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. If I sound a little bit worn here, I got in about midnight, and so I'm just kind of recovering right now, a little bit of fatigue, and I've got my coffee over here, so I'm doing all right. So thank you for being patient with me. My name's Brad Zockel. This is the Heaven Tour, and this is a three-dimensional model. This was given to me by a dear fellow over in the Oak Ridge Baptist Church as I was over there talking about the multidimensional God. And then I had an illustration of this up on the PowerPoint in talking about how this is the limitation of our existence in height, depth, and width. And then as I showed this, and then I went into the multi-dimensions of God, he came after the service, Kirby's his name, and he says, well, I've got something for you. I work in a business in which I make 3D models, and we have to have this as an XYZ tool on the side. So he gave it to me. So if you look here, you will unscrew it. It's a model that takes up here, and you're going to put this in on the different axis on here. And this is really neat. So this is my illustration. I'll be carrying this with me as I travel. Matter of fact, this week I will be traveling over to Indiana. You'll pray. I came back late last night here. Car's running a little bit rough, but it's going to be okay. I'll make it to Albion, Indiana, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 27th, 28th, 1st, and 2nd. This week, Berean Baptist Church. Indiana folks, I'd love to see you there. Let me say hi here to our friends as we get going. Johnny, thank you. Boy, just right on the spot here. Appreciate them very much getting things started here. Marie, Nikki, welcome. And then we have Miss Mary Jane from the UK. Once again, good to see you. Tanya, Northern Kentucky. Oh, I had such a great time in Erlanger. Thank you so much, Tanya, for being here. Red Dog and Red and Sandy, good to see you as well. And there's Josh from Delaware. Looking forward to being in Easton, Maryland. I'll be up in the area there at the conference on March 8th and 9th, Josh, over in Easton, Maryland. Brenda, good morning to you. You're 64 today. Well, Brenda, this is your day. We dedicate the day to Brenda. So a tip of the coffee mug here to you, Brenda. 64 today. That's your kid. You're a child in age too. Brenda, happy birthday to you. Wonderful time here. There's Pierce, see you. And I am going to also click the mug to you as well. Wonderful. Brent sent me another pack of mugs along with the candles. And so I've got them here. Good morning and wonderful. Thank you so much, Christina, for being on when you can. Lisa, thank you for moderating as well. Very kind of you. Tony, as well as helping out too. So let's go down here. There's Mark's. Good to have you here. Let's see. Dawn in New Jersey. I appreciate you here. There's George from Somerville. Good to have you. Lori over here. And let's see. Lori, we've got our North Dakota lady here. Thank you for being here. And we have, let me see. That's Florida. Sally is here. Well, wonderful, Sally. Now, you're reminding me. Book number 4 is off to the editors. That's our Heaven reference book. It's not a devotional. It is literally going to be an alphabetized reference for you. It's not exhaustive on the things of heaven, but it's enough to get you working on it. I'll keep building through the year. This is the first edition. As I told people, somebody calls you, what's this about angels? What does the Bible say about angels? You'll go to A. You can look up all of those scriptures on there. They're right there. They're written out. And then what about, do babies go to heaven whenever they pass from this life? You're going to be for babies in heaven. What does Jesus do in heaven? J for Jesus. What does Jesus do in heaven? We have that. It's alphabetized. That is, the working title right now is our Heaven reference book. And it is off to the editors. And so be in prayer. If everything goes okay, it should be ready by the middle of the month. Book number 4 in our Heaven is Home series. I'm very excited about this one, as much as I've been on any of our books. All right. Elaine, good to have you here. Yes, Brenda. Brenda, birthday time, okay? Let me see. Tanya, does Andrea reply to her emails? If you ask her to, she will. You have to ask her, okay? Wonderful. Yeah. Brenda, 64, like Lori says. Yeah, you're as young as you feel. Let me say something. Since I started on this ministry, I told him just over the weekend, I feel 20 years younger. I really do. Even though today I'm kind of worn out, but So exciting. When I was going through education and I'm sitting there back in those days, and I just remember looking at the students, especially after COVID, and thinking, they don't care anymore. Okay. I was teaching in Christian school. Okay. They just don't care. I want to go where people care. And during the COVID, we started our different ministries here, and people flocking in, wanting to know about heaven. Oh, man, getting out and traveling, it's excellent. Just unbelievable. Just really so excited. Oh, somebody's trying to attack. Johnny ain't going to let that happen. Good work, Johnny. Thank you so much. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate that. Got somebody trying to disrupt, and our moderators, they don't put up with that kind of stuff, too. All right. Cowbell, good to have you here. Estella, good to have you. Let me see. All right. Now, Mary Jane, I'll go to our questions. Let's go to our study, and then we'll get right to it, okay? All right. So I'm going to watch the clock here so we have a good amount of time for Q&A, too. Over the course of the weekend, I was teaching on the multidimensional God. And as I did, I had an illustration on the PowerPoint to let us know the limitation of our existence. We're in 4 dimensions as humans. Time is 1 dimension, so we'll put that aside. The other 3 are going to be height, width, and depth. You can tell I'm tired. Height, width, and depth. And so I had a picture of this over on the side on how you measure in the axis. And in explaining the different definitions, we would use this. Well, then Kirby, who works in a factory making 3-dimensional models, says this is the XYZ axis tool that they have. And so these different ones have the different ones by which they use the measurements. Now, don't ask me to go into it because I don't work with them. I'm a layman and I'm learning this. I am going and I'm talking and interviewing those in physics who have the studies and the backgrounds, and I got some wonderful information to continue on in our study on this. So we're within a 3-dimensional realm. So let me continue on what I talked about this morning on this. And the 4th dimension, and then we're restricted on that, okay? It's like you have 4 walls in our existence here. So I don't have a 5th wall that's unknown to us. We're within 4. We're understanding that. This is our realm. This is us on the mortal coil. We have 4 dimensions: height, width, depth, and time. The 3 dimensions are moving. And so Einstein, 1905, theory of relativity, said, well, then that movement is technically a dimension in itself. It's called time. And it's measurable. To have a dimension, it has to be measurable, and it has to have direction. Time's direction: 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years. Okay? So in that, God breaks this down. God, his name is El Olam. It's one of his names, the God of time. Psalm 90, verse 2 says, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. Everlasting to everlasting. None of us can say that about ourselves, all right? He's the eternal God. He's the God of time. He owns it. Can't be squished into it any more than you can be pushed into a box that you've made, okay? Or the shoes that you purchase, that you have to be restricted within a shoebox. Doesn't even make any sense. It's not even possible. It's the same with God. He created time. People will try to restrict him. Who created God? Well, you're using a time of his creation. You're using a dimension of his own creation. You can't do that, all right? And so in that, it answers it very easily. And the more we study these dimensions, the more fascinating it is. And what I want to do is actually read you. When we talk about the dimension of time, and in the secular studies that I'm doing in these past months, the other postulation is that there are more than one time dimension. There are more than 1, 2, 3 time dimensions. And right now, the one that I'm reading is they're saying there's at least 2 dimensions of time. And this is in a secular field. Christians say, well, that's no surprise, because we have the physical realm of time here, the measurable one, then you have the God time. And to show that, I'm going to read you these passages in the Holy Scriptures that tell you about this. And I said this, as we looked at this, God takes creation and everything that's going on and then gives a restrictive definition called a day. Number 4, sun, moon, and stars is created. That is a day. That is the box of time, and that is literally in the Hebrew, that word is a cycle known as a day. Someone in the last chapter said, well, technically, could that mean 1,000 years? Well, we're just going by. What we see is what we get. We're seeing a need to know. It says It's a cycle, morning and evening, or a day. That's what we're going to go by, okay? So now I took you over to, and I was sharing this earlier. We see, let's start with 2 Kings. Hezekiah is dying, and he turns his face toward the wall in deep prayer and in great sorrow, and says, Lord, have I not been faithful to you? Would you see compassion to me to allow me some more time to live? Many of you know this, the story. It's wonderful. 2 Kings chapter 20. And so when he does, he says, Isaiah came in and says, the Lord has mercy on you, and you are going to live. Hezekiah says, in all respect, how would I know? What's the sign? All right, so now I'm going to read to you. I'm reading from the Legacy version right now. Now Hezekiah says to Isaiah, what will be the sign that Yahweh will heal me? That I should go up to the house of Yahweh the third day. And Isaiah said, this shall be a sign to you from Yahweh, that Yahweh will do the thing he has spoken. Then he asks a question, lets him have his choice. Hezekiah, take a choice. Shall the shadow go forward 10 steps? And this is literally 10 steps. They're using, as close to a sundial, using a staircase, an outside staircase. Shall the shadow go forward 10 steps or turn back 10 steps? Verse 10. So Hezekiah said, it's easy for the shadow to stretch forward 10 steps. No, but let the shadow turn backward 10 steps. All right. Verse 11, Isaiah the prophet cries to Yahweh, and he turned the shadow in the stairway back 10 steps by which it had gone down the stairway of Ahaz. It moves back. It actually moves back, and we see it. All right. So God says, I am in charge of time. I'll reverse time to let you know. I'll let you know that. I'll show you that. We take a look over here in Joshua chapter 10. Watch how God controls time here too. Where did I put that passage there too? Fascinating, fascinating passage here. Here we go. Joshua's up against 5 kings. And during that time, during this, Yahweh says, you're going to win. I'm going to be honored in this, Joshua. The armies of God will win. And so, let me see where we have this here. They went over there and they had, it skipped down on me. Here we go. And then as they fled before Israel, Yahweh handles them, takes care of them. Verse 12, then Joshua speaks to Yahweh in the day when Yahweh gave over the Amorites before the sons of Israel. He says, O sun, S-U-N, stand still at Gibeon, moon in the valley of Aijalon. The sun stands still. Verse 13, the moon stopped till the nation avenged himself and their enemies. And it tells you there, sun stood in the middle of the sky, did not hasten to go down for about a whole day. No day like it, before or after. This is the God of time. He controls it, he maneuvers it, he takes care of it. Absolutely, absolutely powerful here too. This is the God of time. I want you to read those passages and then add 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8. A day is as 1,000 years, 1,000 years is as a day. All right, so wonderful, powerful, powerful passage here. All right, so speaking of time, let's just get going in the beginning of the day here, and let's just see if we might be able to go through some questions. I'm going to go to the beginning of the hour and walk my way down through here, okay? And let's see what we have. I just love this talking, and I'm going to be doing a study, and during the course of this day, is working on the dimension of time, the multi-dimension of God in time, in which a number of the dear Christian friends, deep in physics, says, let me give you the background of what you could study in the wonder of God and time. So I'm going to carry that more. All right, let's see, moving on down. There's Dan Crane. I'm sorry. Dan is in here this morning. Good to see you from Breeze, Illinois. I will be with Dan and his church that bought out a jail, a local jail in Breeze. I got to walk through it on a tour whenever I was up to see Mr. Dan there. And I'll be down there for our gathering time in October. We will be down there with Dan Crane in, or up in Breeze, Illinois, too. All right, let's see. Let's see. Kelly, what is the schedule traveling? Looking for, like, Louisiana. I keep forgetting to put my calendar. Kelly, let me go there. I'm going to go off the top of my head memory-wise, but I'm pretty tired today. So I'm going to go read and let you see this. Okay, so I will be in Louisiana in March. I will be in March. First of all, it's going to be a busy weekend here. On March 14th, on Friday, March 14th, I'm going to be with Pastor Earl Hodges at Olive Branch Ministries of Greater New Orleans, and that's in Kenner. You know where Kenner is, Kelly, all right? But I'll tell our other friends. This is in an area near New Orleans, obviously. Olive Branch Ministries of Greater New Orleans in Kenner. It's a 7 p.m. Heaven Q&A conference for one night. It's an evening service, Q&A and things like that. Then the next day, I'll be back to our regular old stomping grounds where Kelly and Ed and our other friends are all over there at the Roastery. We have a community Bible study at Rebel Coffee Roastery. Rebel Coffee. This is not a coffee house. This is actually the Roastery. It's Ed's home, and it is a roastery in there. And I'm telling you, the coffee is awesome as well. And they even sneak us some jambalaya as well. That is Slidell on Saturday, March 15th. Now, the actual hour is going to be determined. We haven't said it yet. We're aiming around noontime, but I don't want to hold to that yet. But that's in Slidell, Rebel Coffee Roastery. Then Sunday, I'll be leaving early, getting over to a hotel on the Texas border over in Vidor. As a matter of fact, some dear friends are arranging that. I don't want to give their name because I don't want to steal their blessing unless they say it's okay. But I'm going to be in Vidor, Texas at Source of Old Faith Chapel on Sunday the 16th. I'll be speaking at Source of Old Faith Chapel in Vidor, Texas on Sunday the 16th. So Lone Star friends, love to see you there. Okay. Moving on down here. Let me see. Maureen, good to see you here from North Dakota. We've got Lori from North Dakota. You guys can enjoy the cold up there all you want. I'm going to be okay with what we have here too. But, well, thank you so much. Yeah, we're going to be talking more about time and about the God of time here. Let's see. Let me see. EJ, I got to see EJ this weekend too. Wonderful young man here. He says it's interesting that most biologists are atheists because of the mechanisms that they observe, but physicists tend to be far more religious. Einstein and Newton are good classic examples. You'll see that, you know. As a matter of fact, EJ, I think I told you this, but I would recommend everybody in here who finds an intriguing presentation of time, go to C.S. Lewis's book, and it is online about 4 different places. The PDF is on there. It's free. Okay, they didn't plagiarize it or anything like that. It had a public domain opening. It is Mere Christianity, M-E-R-E, Mere Christianity, which in the parlance of World War II era British just meant simple Christianity. Just giving you Christianity very simply. I think it's chapter 21 called Time and Time Again. Read it. It'll change you. It talks about time. If you have an interest on us talking about time, Maureen, I want you to go and get Mere Christianity, or if you have the book or the library, read the whole thing, by all means. It's a fantastic book. But the chapter on time is stunning. It talks about God, the owner of time. It's wonderful. All right. Let me see. We've got 24/7. Good morning. Good to see you. Am I in Maryland? No, I'm in upcountry South Carolina. I will be in Maryland on March 8th and 9th in Easton, but no, I'm not in Maryland. My brother, you're thinking of my brother, the Potter, Brent, the Potter. He is in Salisbury, Maryland. All right, Brent is. Let me see. Well, you know something. Well, there's Stella and Nico. Wonderful. And we've also got Della here as well. This is, I've gone down to all of the questions, unless I've passed one by. So if you have a question here, once again, this is our 3-dimensional model of the 3 different dimensions that we have, the 3-dimensional XYZ model that Kirby gave me, who works making 3-dimensional models. He said, look, if you're going to be talking about a multidimensional God and everything, I want you to have this as a gift. And so it is really something else, and I fidget with it while I'm talking here with you. I'm not going to do it up front. It'll distract people. But you actually create it, and it's next to the models that they make at his place. He works in Oak Ridge, you know, I'm not exactly sure which plant, which of the different areas of study he does. But he gave me one of these. This is really, really cool, too. All right. Let me see. Okay, 24/7. I'm coming to the Eastern Shore twice this year. I'm coming back to Salisbury to Calvary Baptist Tabernacle. Pastor Brandon asked me to come back. Pastor Lou Bradley is the senior pastor emeritus. Calvary Baptist Tabernacle in Salisbury. The time is going to be into the summertime, but the one I'm coming to, within the next stone's throw of time, is going to be in Easton, Maryland, March 8th and 9th, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday night and then Sunday morning. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, Johnny, thank you so much for bringing that up. That's very, very kind. And then I was able to get a new battery. As a matter of fact, I went back and the fellow said, Mr. This battery, I'm just amazed that you got it here. He says, you're way past, this is over 4 years old. And so got a new one in with a good guarantee, and the church says, get a good one, and we're going to take care of you. So I'm thankful for that. And the car's just handling it. Running a little bit rough. I've got to get that back wobble out after that accident. So thank you so much. Let me see who else we have here. Anybody else in questions? Okay. Then later on, EJ's got a comment here. I liked your verse about stepping through time as though he were stepping back in one of the other acts, as similar to our conversation yesterday. Absolutely. And we understand this when we take a look, EJ, into heaven. When we're talking about the important thing is, as we're grasping this concept of time, get back into Revelation 21 and 22. And in that realm of the foreverness of 2 Peter 3:8, in which time is in a whole new presentation. Remember Revelation 21 and verse 5. Jesus says, I make all things new, and that includes time. So look, it's the same way. Revelation 22 says, well, then there's water flowing from the throne. Somebody goes, wonder what it tastes like. Well, let me give you an idea. Along with what Jesus says, it's unprecedented, in verse 5, but it's also very, very important that you see it's called the water of life. The water of life. It's not earthly water. Oh, you'll recognize it as a fluid, but it's going to be the celestial presence. Well, that's the same way as time. Oh, we'll recognize there is a passage of time, but it's heavenly time because there's references to time all through heaven. Revelation chapter 8 and verse 1, a half an hour's reference there. Month, the term month is used in Revelation 22. A little while is being used. And as one Bible scholar says, there's music. Music is based on time, quarter notes, half notes, things like that. So there has to be a semblance of time there. It's in a new way. Okay. Let me see. Baller, run me the question again. Okay. I must have missed it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Just throw it to me again. Okay. Yes, Lori, this dimension. I want us to grasp this because I have so many people think about it. Sometimes we will get, sometimes, and I want to say it might be embarrassing. And I put this up on the screen. If you may remember about 3 to 4 months ago, one lady said this in one of the comment sections on one of the posts, quote, I don't care what anybody says. My heaven has my 4 pets. And I'm thinking, how very narrow that you're going to say, I don't care anybody. That would include, in my understanding, you're telling God, I don't care what you say. I'm having my parents. How dare you use this type of arrogancy? And I don't understand. And many people that I will talk with on emails and on posts who claim to be Christians will start setting down their limitations. Well, it's not going to be heaven if this, or it's got to be heaven and I must have this. Where are you getting this? Where are you getting this? And I think yesterday we got a healthy dose of humility when we realized, we're nowhere near. We're limited, okay? So we want to remember that as well, okay? Pierce, with dimensions, physics has identified 10, possibly 11. What I'm studying right now is they're going under the presentation there are 10. That's in my studies right now. Can we see any correlation with 24 elders or David's counting the nations? I have absolutely no step into that area right yet, Pierce. This is where I'm going this year. This is my thrust of study this year in going there. So no, I have not seen anything on that yet, but I tell you what, I'm certainly moving in that direction, so I'll let you know. All right. Yep, hey, I'm waving to you, 8-Ball. Good, yeah, I'm here in the farmhouse, getting things going here. Okay, now, Baller says, why are there many different church denominations if they are all believing the same thing, or do they not? I really don't get into denominational things outside of heaven. Let's just put it this way. There are people that will have a discrepancy among maybe church practice. It might be a non-doctrinal thing. Or there's one particular group, I'm not going to say any names. It just gets ridiculous when we start going by titles. Let's say this. I had a good friend, and their church up in Ohio, whenever I was working at the radio station, their church really has a strong feeling against having any instruments within their service. They just don't have them in there. And so that's fine, okay? But there are going to be people that want instruments. Well, they just don't feel comfortable. They have their particular grouping. You are going to call it a denomination. Now, there are others that will have a difference of polity within there, maybe a form of baptism and things like this. So you do have different denominations that have different beliefs. And I'm just going to leave that's a simple thing on that. As I go in, I'm speaking at different places that are different denominations, and I'm free to do that. My whole thing is I'm giving you the scripture as the Bible. If you want to get into delineations and all kinds of details, you'll notice this during the course of our live streams. I'll brush them aside. That is not really necessary for this time, or this one is not really where we're going with our study. If we could get back to the bare bones study of this is what the Bible says about heaven. Here tells you about there. And well, we've always been well, show me where the scripture says that. And some people do, and some people go, well, I've always been taught that. Oh, maybe we got something here. Do you take the rhetoric from the pulpit as automatic gospel with no source? Well, maybe you ought to reconsider this. And I'm happy to say I'm seeing a new generation coming up of people saying, yes, I want to learn the Bible. I want to learn heaven from the scriptures. All right? Tanya, when we get to heaven, will we be able to tell our loved ones that have been there for 30 years about our lives have been here on earth for the past 30 years? Well, let me kind of break this down. So you're asking, will we have memories? Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about this many times. Will we converse with loved ones? Absolutely. Start putting this together. Are there family recognitions? Yeah, Matthew 8:11, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, father, son, and grandson. Okay. Do we have a memory wipe? No, we do not. We do have that. Or else we wouldn't have accountability to receive rewards. Put all those together, and I think you're going to get a positive answer, Tanya. Yeah, you will be able to share those things. In a filtered memory, the pain of the past, as I see the principle in Isaiah 65:16, the troubles will be hidden, all right? Mary Jane, the symbols in the model are just the axis used for length, width, and depth, all right? In the presentation of the way that Kirby would use this, I don't know. He gave this to me, but this would represent the different realms of the dimension, length, width, and, just using those algebraic representations. And that's as far as I'll take it on there. Okay, as far as I understand it. Dad, the bride, let me go a couple more minutes here if you don't mind. I'll take a couple more questions here, okay? The bride, there's two references to the bride in there. So don't go, it's got to be this and only this. No, it does. As we see, there are three representations of what's above us in the scriptures, and they're all delineated so clearly, you have no argument. Same thing with the bride. Revelation 21:2, and continuing, the New Jerusalem is so gorgeous and so prepared, it's like a bride. The New Jerusalem in Revelation 21 is prepared as a bride. Go back to Revelation 19, and the preparation of all the believers of all nations and races and tongues that have made a decision for Jesus Christ. In that preparation and the love relationship, the closest, the two examples of deep love of the Godhead for us are used so that we might see them as a parent for a child. He's the father, we are the children, and also a husband for a wife. And that is the illustration in Revelation chapter 19 and verse 9. Among other places, this is the bride of Christ, the church. So you have two references there for the bride. Let's see. No, it's fine, Baller. That's absolutely fine. It's on there, okay? And so, Dad, I just gave you that answer there too, and we are now at the bottom of the hour. Big day for me today to get some paperwork done because I'm heading on out on Thursday here. I'm going to catch some rest here, get things going. Boy, great weekend, wonderful weekend. Got to meet some individuals one-on-one over coffee, share with them my ministry, and also hear from them as well. It was just very, very good. And so I'm just going to get everything together here. I'll be posting things later on. I'll go on X on live. I don't really know. I've just got to follow, how everything's going. I'm watching the clocks here, making sure that I use my time wisely here, because this is going to be a big week. 4 days, Heaven is Home Conference in Albion, Indiana, at Berean Baptist Church. And so I want to thank our moderators. Thank you. I guess somebody went on the attack, and Johnny wasn't going to put up with that kind of stuff. Thank you very, very much. God bless you all. And don't forget the podcast, Questions About Heaven. Please download, please subscribe, or subscribe on here. Go over here now. I started that, the Zockel Thoughts channel, illustrations of our Christian family, my mom after my dad abandoned our family. Mom taking care of us. And that's right here. I just started a new one. We had some people asking, could you bring that over to YouTube? And I did. It's Zockel Thoughts right here. Go subscribe to that, please, and let people know about that. And watch them, both the shorts and the longer videos, okay? I give anecdotes, true life stories about the things. You'll see what it's like. Thank you so much. God bless you. Lord willing, we'll talk soon.